This is the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 2. The point is verse 11, and it reads, Second Corinthians 2 and 11, and it reads, Salakia, least Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. I'm going to start off by giving all praises, all honor, and all glory to God, Elohim La Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, Hashem Chakodesh Bakatham. Double honors to my apostles, the elders, a great millstone who teach and do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing his truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akwat and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, for whom subscribe to this truth. To you, I say shalom. It's the brother Yahweh Sop out of GMS Cleveland Church, fellow servant, coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit, through the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So, I came across this video by this one. I don't know who he is, but long story short, he was bringing out some interesting information. I'm gonna play the copyright disclaimer because YouTube just loves to attack our videos. So I'm gonna play that, then I'm gonna get the video. Lord willingly, this is edifying. So this fair use, copyright, Salakia.
Going to change everything that we know about America. It's happening. Hey, what's up, guys? John here. Universal basic income is going to change everything that we know about America. It's happening right now. It's happening rapidly, and it's unbelievable what's going to be unfolding over the next 90 and 120 days. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what you can expect, because it's pretty shocking to me. Now, we are going to see universal basic income in Florida and Texas and all the places you would think that it would never happen. In fact, it's going to happen all across the country. There will not be a city or state excluded. I promise you, because they're already listed as states and locations that they're already pushing this. It's already happening. And so, it's something that we all need to prepare for. We have to pay close attention to what's happened the last couple of years. What's happened? Stimulus payments, they said, we're going to issue these, $3,600 stimulus payments, everyone, 3 rounds at $1,200 each. And this is going to, keep everyone safe. Everyone's going to be happy. It's going to be a great thing. But what ultimately happened is we got, 20% inflation, a whole new society, a divided society, an angrier world. Things have really changed. Job insecurity has never been as high as it is now. A lot has changed. And so when we move into this universal basic income type of environment, the big question is, how does it get funded? Who actually pays this money? Well, it's going to be the small and medium-sized business owner and the landlord, of course. It will not be the big corporations of the world, because the big corporations, look at Nike, look at Facebook. They're headquartered in Ireland. They have tax shelters. They're paying no tax. They're smart. Right? Whereas the middle class, they're paying 40%. If you live in California, you might be spending 56% of your revenue, in tax when you consider city, state, and federal and employment tax. Everything is added on, right? Everything is much more challenging, if you're not worth billions of dollars, right? And that's, I think, why the big companies can throw around the key buzzwords that we hear about all the time, like the Salesforce CEO saying that, his main priority for 2023 is, inequality and sustainability. Meanwhile, he lives in a multi-million-dollar mansion worth back to Salesforce. For a fact that his nanny or his housekeeper, his staff, they're not flying private with him. They're not, staying next door to him in Hawaii, a beautiful mansion. No, they're probably sitting in a bachelor apartment outside of Miami with roaches and, living check to check, right? They're not, it's just the buzzword environment, because what happens when we move into this type of universal basic income type of environment? Inflation continues to run rampant. Taxes rise. What ultimately happens is the middle class, even the upper middle class, and the lower class, everyone just blends into one class, and then it's just the really rich. And the really rich are like, hey, I don't care if let's say we walk into 20-30% inflation, what difference does it matter to me if I'm worth all this money? And all that does is put much more distress on the assets in which the middle class owned. And I can go in there, scoop up all those assets, and the fiat currency really doesn't mean much anyway, because, hey, it's printed by the Federal Reserve, and they can just print as much of it as they want versus the hard real assets. That's something that actually matters. And so we're looking at all this. We're stepping into a whole new environment. Take a look at this. So for more than 20 guaranteed income projects, the data is in. The programs have been a lifeline across the U.S. New research shows, especially for parents of color. In more than 20 cities that launched basic income programs during the pandemic, the average person receiving monthly support was a woman making just enough money to put her over the federal poverty line. Most beneficiaries were single, most had kids, and most were people of color. They receive up to $1,000 a month, usually for about a year, and overall spent the largest share of money at superstores and smaller retailers. Quarter went, to food, 6% went to travel and leisure, right? And they're saying UBI status. This is for October. What states are going to send checks? This just came out today. And the states are Birmingham, Alabama. There's a scheme to help single women caring for at least one child under the age of 18. The first group of 110 people are currently receiving $375 per month for a year. Phoenix, Arizona just approved $12 million cash assistance program to help low-income families. There's schemes coming to places in California, LA, Compton, Long Beach, Marin County, Mountain View, Oakland, Santa Clara, San Diego, San Fran, Sonoma County, Stockton, Denver, Colorado launched a small program, $5.5 million. Similar schemes also can be found in Gainesville, Florida, and Atlanta and Georgia. Illinois has got schemes in place in Chicago, Cook County, Evanstown. The guaranteed validation effort has also been launched in Gary, Indiana. New Orleans, Shreveport, Louisiana are on the list along the Baltimore, Maryland, and Chelsea, Massachusetts. Minneapolis and Minnesota, along with Jackson, Mississippi, have got provisions in place to help struggling families, along with New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, Rhode Island, South Carolina, Texas, Virginia, and Washington.
If you had gotten in early on stocks like Apple or Tesla, you could have retired on a single stock. That said, you don't have to invent a time machine.
Carolina, Rhode Island, South Carolina, Texas, Virginia, and Washington. California, of course, has their plan coming. But this universal basic income, this just came out as well today. Can New York City become more equitable? Universal basic income mobile health units are among the new report, right? So they want the mobile health units, but this is how it would work. The idea is straightforward. Provide cash to people in need. Andrew Yang made universal basic income a tenet to his presidential campaign in 2020 and carried it over into his 2021 bid for New York City mayor, where he proposed giving New Yorkers living in extreme poverty an average of $2,000 a year. Now, remember, what is happening right now is inflation has crushed a lot of people. And what are they doing with inflation? They're putting it on their credit card. And that credit card utilization is at 105, 110%. They can't spend a single dollar on it because it's just max to the T. And as interest rates rise, the cost to service that debt is going to get much, much more expensive, where people are going to start demanding a solution. That solution is likely going to be a universal basic income or some type of help, right? It's very obvious. So the key right now is for, if you can, and I receive messages, people ask me all the time, John, I'm in debt, what can I do? Reduce your life expenses. If that's what you have to do, reduce your quality of life as much as you possibly can. If you're a single person, you have the option of moving back in with your parents. If you can, move in with someone or bring a roommate in or do whatever, get out of debt. That's the key right now, is getting out of debt, bringing those debts to zero, if at all possible. If you have bad credit, we'd love to help you. Cash Not Out video. But people really need to look at debts and look at the way the world is changing. The last thing you want to do is sit with debt or late payments or delinquencies or anything like that. Because what's ultimately happening is if you borrow, let's say $10,000 and you're making minimum payments, you're going to spend 20 grand just in interest back to the big credit card companies. And that's not touching a single nickel of principal, right? The last thing you want to do is make these minimum payments. And a lot of people got suckered into it because they thought they were just going to get the checks and the money was going to keep flowing and everything was going to be great in the economy. But now things are starting to change. And now, the security is not there, right? People are misled across the board. While dozens of pilot programs have sprung up.
It made me think of the scripture in the book of Job that talks about the deceived and the deceiver are both his, because ultimately this is the will of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and all to steer people in a position or a situation where they're in desperation, as like this man is saying, John Williams is saying, literally the inflation won't be checked. It's going to constantly keep on rising, to the point where the Fed said that they're not even going to basically cripple the economy. They're just going to let the, as far as raising the interest rates more again, because I know they was just speaking on raising it again, but they said that they're going to hold back right now. So they're just going to allow the inflation to keep on continuing to build up, which is going to, like he said, lead people into a situation where they're going to need the government or go to the government for support.
Recent years, including LA, right? The executive director of New Yorkers and Children, which works with youths who age out the foster care system, says New York City should launch a universal basic income program for young people aging out of foster care. They're hitting a cliff, right? This is what's going to happen. Only half of youths in foster care find work by the time they reach 24, and 20% experience homelessness as soon as they're out of foster care. This just came out. The Sun. This just came out 25 minutes ago. The fourth stimulus checks 2022, and this is going to be a huge new $1,050 direct payment to hit bank accounts in weeks. In weeks. Residents who got the first or second round of Golden State stimulus payments via direct deposit will receive the money between October 7th and October 25th. The state's franchise tax board said the inflation relief payments give money away to combat inflation, ranging from $200 to $1,050 will be issued via direct deposit in phases based on how residents received previous stimulus payments. They even have down here a unclaimed property disclosure, basically letting you know, like if we send you the checks and you don't get it, it's going to be unclaimed property. What I think is likely going to be happening probably over the next 6 months, 8 months, is they're going to start doing digital dollar direct deposits to save on postage. It's better for the environment. They don't waste all the letters and everything that they're going to, they have to print up and all that. They're just going to save it and just send it direct to you. And that, I think, is what's likely going to happen. But as Mark Zuckerberg once famously said, if something is for free, you are the product, right? The big question is, do you want these universal basic income direct deposits? Do you want this money? What do you think this is going to do? I think right now, the smart entrepreneurs, the people that are really, really paying attention, they're asking themselves, how can I make a ton of money? Like, how can I make a lot of money? How can I position myself and put myself in a place, build out a moat of safety around myself and my family?
So I'm going to stop it there because at the end of the day, the point has been made. That's why I started with that 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. At least Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. We see that basically because of the inflation that this red devil has caused, they got people hooked onto these stimulus payments. They gave you, what was that, 3? I can't remember if it was 3 or 4. I think it was, because I remember Trump gave you 12, then he gave you 6, then Biden gave you 1. But I can't remember 1 or 2. But at the end of the day, they got you hip or hooked onto these payments. And then at the time when everybody needs help because of the inflation, the government is sitting back. It's funny. We in the state of Ohio, I'm in the Cleveland camp, and he was talking about how the governor of our state basically released like $15 million to go towards. Now I was gonna do a video on it because they basically made basically presented it like they were gonna give out stimulus payments, but in actuality they're donating $15 million to actually give to food banks, so the food banks can literally help people that's actually having trouble feeding their families. Now, from what I hear or what I read, is saying that the food banks literally asked for like $183 million. Now, where they came up with this $15 million, nobody knows, and that's how the article ended. So I was just thinking about the slick tongue of this devil. You know what I mean? What's that Psalm 55? And 21. His words are smoother than butter. Because this devil is a slick tongue devil. But at the same time, again, who is that really going to help if these agencies ask for over 183 million? You know what I mean? So it's putting people in a desperate situation, and it's just the perfect storm to set up these people to be willing to take this, MOTB or this CHIP. So I'm gonna get some scriptures. Lord willing is edifying. I read 2 Corinthians, so we're gonna come out with this Habakkuk, because we coming into the time for the vision is yet for a point of time, and that vision is the prophecy, and the prophecy go in the Revelation chapter 13. No man will be able to buy or sell. Now, it's gonna get to a point where they testing everybody out with it. But like I said, let anything happen. Best believe it's gonna not taking that jump shot is going to affect you in the long run. Biden made that statement about, the pandemic was over with. I went to the doctor's office and I got kind of offended because the goofy bitch up there, it's just her way her spirit came across. She in the thing, and she talking about for me to wear the mask, but she ain't got no mask on. You know what I mean? So it's just like funny. It kind of makes me, that's why I didn't feel sorry for those healthcare professionals that end up quitting their job when they was put in the position they had to take it. And that's just showing you how the devil going to turn on those that actually, those that basically cooperated with him going to be in derision. You had those nurses that was getting paid all that money, during the pandemic but really was sitting on their ass, not doing shit. And then basically when they was put in that position, or you got to take it, they had to quit their jobs. So, you know what I mean? And again, by not taking this, because you had a lot of people actually take this shit, that jump shot, it's going to come back and, because there's a reason why they did all that. It just wasn't just for people, like they can utilize that in a lot of ways. I was talking to some old school guys that I worked at this job, this foundry. And they was talking about, I forgot what vaccine that they had came out with. And they was like, basically the government had forced that vaccine, you know what I'm saying? So, that's why they were so eager and an old bottle, Jake, sometimes Jake don't want to, Jake, you stuck in their ways sometimes. So this is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3, and it reads, "For the vision is yet for a appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry." And we living in them times where we're seeing the vision, which is the prophecy in Revelation chapter 13 about no man may buy or sell, at least he had a mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. That we're coming into that time, because like I said, they're creating a digital system where, like I said, the brother from Vegas, he just did a video, maybe within like last week or two, where it was going into how, that European, I don't know the lady's name or whatever. She might have been the new prime minister, because I know it's a female prime minister that took over Boris Johnson's job. Come to find out who Boris Johnson's father was, he the guy that wrote the book Outbreak. You know what I mean? Like, these devils, this is a gigantic network of demons. But so that vision is the prophecy. And again, like I say, we coming into the time where, everything will be digitalized. So if you're not in their grid on their system, if you don't have certain medical requirements, put it like that, that will affect you, because the Lord said it's going to be a great persecution. This is the book of Revelation chapter 13. I'm going to bring out the scripture 13 and verse 15, and it reads, "And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed." And that's going into that persecution, because those that do not want to take or partake in this system, as far as, getting any kind of C-hips or, jump shots, is going to be, like I said, it's going to come back. It's going to be a repercussion for that, and it's ultimately the test. It's ultimately going to, ultimately you're going to have a group of men and women that's going to refuse, and it's all going to go back to the praise and the honor of Yahweh Shem Yahshua. Verse 16, "And he caused of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name." And that's going to that charagma, that C-hip, This is the book of, what is this? The book of Job, So, the Lord, because this is ultimately the will of Yahweh Shem Yahshua, because he ultimately will have to test his elect, and judge the world, and the Lord going to put something within the elect that they're not going to succumb to this no matter what, even on to pain of death. But, you got the 2/3 and the heathen that's going, these scriptures talk about how, if people will resort to eating their own child, their own flesh, what do you think a person going to do as far as taking an implant? You know what I'm saying? Like, so the Lord is with this, because like I said, again, this is his scripture. Salaki, this is his script, his movie, and it's all foretold and pre-written, but so he going to allow Esau, Edom, the devil, the so-called white man, to, bring this to fruition to a degree, but he is also going to, it's going to be his own demise as well. This is the book of Job chapter 20, Verse 22, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. And I forgot the word of what that wicked is, but when you go into the word wicked, it basically breaks down to the laborers. And, who was the main laborer here is, you tribes, the so-called blacks, Hispanic, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, West Indian, or Haitians. You know what I mean? Scriptures talk about in Isaiah chapter 19 that the Egyptian shall be against Egyptian. So, Esau gonna be fighting his own, but he gonna, basically, it tells you in the book of Psalms about how, the saints shall take. Well, that's in Daniel. And Daniel talks about how the saints shall take the kingdom, and the book of Psalms it talks about how, how shall dash a little one to pieces, roughly paraphrased. So, this man is gonna get this off the ground to a degree, but he's not gonna bring it to full fruition. And those that are his elect and put all their trust and power in Yahweh Shem Yahushua, it tells you in the book of Revelation chapter 3, and I'm going to end it with this. This is Revelation chapter 3, verse 10, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Because this is a test, a trial, a trial is a test. Your adversities are tests and trials to make you stronger. Quote Bruce Lee popped in my head just recently. He was saying how don't pray for an easy life, but pray for the strength to deal with a hard or a difficult one. And that's what we all need, because we're about to come into difficult times, hard times, evil times. Evil meaning time, ill meaning bad. So we coming into bad times. To the point where the government, I remember when the government basically changed the system that, you had all the Jakes that literally was living off welfare. Jake was content with that. They had to stop that shit. Especially in Ohio, like after so many years, or I think it was like after the first child, you can get, assistance. And then after that, you only could get it so long. But now they talking about bringing it back. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, you got to question certain stuff, But then I know, like in certain states, they still do it. My demon was getting it, and this goofy motherfucker was thinking she living, well, goofy ass woman thinking she living it up because she getting free money. Opposite everybody, she getting free money and she ain't paying no bills. And you heard what that man said, John Williams. He said the majority of the people that was actually, they used the experiment of the UBI were Jakes. He said people of color. He kept on just saying people of color. But that's Jake. So yeah, we coming into them times. If you're a so-called black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the law, statutes, commandments of your power, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, or you will be destroyed. With that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to call Loyim La Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Kodash Rakatham. I want to say double honors to my apostles, the elders of Great Millstone, teaching and do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing his truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akwath and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, with whom subscribe to this truth. To you I say shalom. Till next time I'm able to come with another lesson. Shalom, shalom. Shalom.